Cl500 horses under the hood. Fast cars, blazing trails, you know we up to no good. Riding clean, shining bright on the street, I'm a king. Hear the engine roar, watch me fly my wings. Project Cl500, we be living the dream. Speeding through the city, they in the scene. Fast cars, faster rhymes, we're the ultimate team. Racing towards the future like a well-oiled machine. Accelerating to the top, we
All right,
never
welcome
gonna
back,
stop.
guys. Today we're going to be doing something that I knew that needed to be done for sooner or later for a long time. I just knew this day was coming. Today we're going to be replacing the alternator. The alternator finally went out on the car. The battery light came on the dash, and I could smell like a little bit of wire that went on the alternator when it happened. I just happened to catch it in my driveway before I drove anywhere, so I was able to catch it in time. So I went to AutoZone, surprisingly, and was able to get an alternator from them off the shelf. So we're going to be replacing the alternator, and I'm going to be showing you guys the process. So first off, to get the bolts out, there's two bolts, one on right here, and there's one directly below on the bottom side of the alternator. They're both E14 sockets. And then, of course, you have, I believe it's a 10 millimeter to get the nut off the back to remove the power to the alternator. And that's pretty much all you need. I've seen videos where you have to remove the fan shroud. I'm probably going to end up having to do that because there's really not that much clearance in there. But if I can get around it, you guys know I will, but we'll see. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to take this all out. I'm going to start by using a 17 millimeter socket to remove the belt from the belt tensioner. And we're going to go from there. And then I'll show you guys when I'm done. Disconnect your battery before you even start. I've already disconnected mine, but you want to make sure you disconnect it so you don't cause any shortages in your system. Alright guys, so as you can see, I got the alternator out, but unfortunately I did have to pull the fan, which means I had to pull the hose. But what I did was pull the radiator hose that goes to the thermostat. So this way I didn't lose all my antifreeze. So I just pulled that one out. I also had to unhook the hose from the tank up top that's connected to it. And we got this alternator out. So now the next step is to put the new one in, and we're gonna go ahead and do that. Alright, so we got the new alternator in, Like I said, there's only this top bolt right here, and then there's a bottom bolt. I don't know if you guys can really see, but there's a bottom bolt somewhere right here. There's a bottom bolt right here, and then you have the top bolt right there. That's how you get the alternator out. Like I said, I had to remove the fan, unfortunately. I know it was a pain in the ass, but what I did, I was remove the thermostat hose so I didn't lose all my fluid. Because as you know, this fluid antifreeze for this car is kind of expensive. Alright, so yeah, so we went ahead and removed the radiator fan. So let me go ahead and just recap everything that I've done so far. So to start this job, you need to disconnect the battery first and foremost. Once you disconnect the battery, I recommend jacking up the car, getting under the car, and removing the plastic under trays of the front part. You don't have to remove all of them, just the front, very front underneath the bumper. This way, when you remove this hose, you go ahead and let it leak down into a tray or something like I did. I let it leak down into an old oil pan tray that I had. And like I said, you have this top bolt, and then you have this bolt right here. You go ahead and remove those. And once you get those out, you have this plug right here on the back of the alternator and this bolt right here that you have to undo. It was a 13 to remove this. So when I went to put the new one in, the new one was a 12. It wasn't a 13 because it comes with its own bolt. Own nut, I should say. So the new one was a 12, but the old one to take it out was a 13. These right here are E14s. So just in case you were wondering, it was 10 millimeter bolts to remove the fan. And that's pretty much it, guys. The hardest part is getting the alternator out because you have to remove the fan. I tried to do it without doing that, but I couldn't. So I'm going ahead and put everything back together. Oh yeah, don't forget you got to remove the belt. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back together and see if everything works. See if that battery light goes off my dash now. Alright, so we got everything put back together. Got the belt back on. I'm going to leave a diagram in there so you guys can see how to put your belt back on. Got the hoses hooked back up. I topped off the fluid for the antifreeze, for the coolant for the car. Got the fan back in. Everything looks good. So we're going to start her up and see if everything works. Alright, so I hooked up the battery. I'm going to go ahead and start her up and see if everything's working right. Alright, so far so good. It's running. Nothing's leaking. Alright guys, so I figured out how to check the voltage on the battery. You have to go to your climate control. And what you do is you turn your key to the second on position. And then you hold the RST button until the menu pops up. And once that menu pops up, you scroll all the way up to number 24, and it should show that your battery, if it's good, is sitting at 11.9, somewhere around there. And once you start up the car, the voltage will go up. Mine is at 13.3. They say it's supposed to be at 14, but mine's never been at 14. Ever since I owned this car, it's always been around 13. So I don't know, maybe I have to drive the car a little bit to charge up the battery some more since it's been sitting. But yeah, mine's sitting at 13.3 with the new alternator in. So I'm not sure what's going on with that, but we'll see. But hopefully there's no issues, but maybe it'll go up. But that's how you check your voltage for your battery and see if your alternator is working, is by turning to the second on position, holding the REST button until the menu pops up and go to number 24, and that'll show you your battery. Alright guys, so that about wraps it up for the car. Everything's put back together. Let me show you what I did to check the voltage again. Put your key in, turn it on the second time. So it's on the second position right before you start it. Turn your air down, and then you just hold this button until the menu pops up. Give it a second, there it goes. Now the menu popped up. Now you go up to number 24. Oh, it went too far. And it will show you, get in here, 11.9 volts. And what you could do is, you could turn the car on. It'll go up. Like I said, mine's going up to 13. But other people say theirs go up to 14, so I don't know what the difference is. But that's what mine's always have done. So I mean, it goes right under 14, so I guess that's good enough. But yeah, that's how you check your voltage for your alternator and your battery. Make sure everything's working. Other than that, that's it guys. I just got a couple of faults that I have to clear out, but still no checking engine light. The ABS light that was on earlier has gone away. It always does that when I disconnect the battery and reconnect it, so that's why I wasn't worried about that. But other than that, no battery light. The car is back to normal, and that's it. So like I said, just to recap, you want to start with disconnecting the negative terminal on your battery, or you can hook the whole battery. Just disconnect your battery. That's the main thing before you start this job. And like I said, it's 2 bolts, one right on top of the other, on the alternator that you have to disconnect, which are E14s. Then you have a 13 millimeter or 12 millimeter nut on the back. And then you have your plug that's on the back of the alternator you have to disconnect. And from what I've seen, you have to take out the fan, which is unfortunate, but it's just a 2 10 millimeter bolts. Actually 3, should be 3 10 millimeter bolts. It might be different on your car, but that's what's supposed to be on mine. So you take those bolts out to get the radiator out. I took the top hose off that's connected to the thermostat and bent that back out the way, so this way I didn't have to disconnect the whole hose, and I only lost a little bit of fluid. So you might have to go ahead and buy you a gallon of coolant if you don't have some already laying around the house. So I would advise you go ahead and get that. And once you get the hose out the way and the fan out, you can pull the alternator out and just reverse the process. I mean, it's not a hard job. It's just tedious because you have to take the pan out from underneath. Like I said before, I would just recommend the pan that's underneath the front bumper. I wouldn't do the whole pan because you don't need to. But that's the most annoying part about it, having to take out the fan and having to take out the pan underneath. But the alternator itself is not hard. It's only 2 bolts to take it out. And like I said, I'll leave a diagram of the belt so you know how to put the belt back on properly. But other than that, that's it. The new alternator is in. Running smooth. I have no complaints. So that's all I got for now. Until next time, guys, y'all stay safe. I'm out.
Benz Cl500 horses under the hood.